For my lovely students of class 11 out there, my greetings to you with a warm hello. I'm Kushi, your prep school English teacher, standing at the gateway of prep school to welcome you to the preparatory school of learning. Learning that's made simpler for you anywhere and at any time. Today, I intend on walking you through what your 11th grade English course of the Cbse curriculum has to offer. In other words, at the end of the presentation, I hope I have given you a sense of what to expect from the course and the way I plan to teach you with the aim that you perform extremely well. Since this is an introduction class, the slides in this presentation are a little heavy in content. That's solely for the purpose of summarizing the topics for your upcoming online classes as a part of your online schooling. The forthcoming classes are going to be much easier with focus on specific topic. So let's begin to understand what is your Cbse Class 11 English Core is all about. When I say English core, what do you mean by core? Core is a basic and mandatory language that is included as a learning in your curriculum. I repeat, core means it's basic and mandatory learning that's included in your curriculum. And remember, the code here is 301. So dear children, what are you all studying in your class 11 for English? It is English core code 301. So the structure of today's presentation, I will discuss everything to start with your prescribed textbooks, to your syllabus and duration, to your question paper pattern, to your cumulative assessment and to your internal assessment too. Please remember, keeping all these in mind will definitely come in handy during the course of time. With this, I hope you got to know what is that you have in store to learn in English for class 11. Let's start with what are the prescribed textbooks. The NCERT has published 2 textbooks for you. The first one is Snapshots and the second one is the Hornbill. Both the books are available easily in the bookstore or you can get it online too. Remember, having a hard copy is any time better. Just for the sake of scoring marks, don't buy these books. Having read them myself in detail, I vouch that the content of the book are enjoyable to a reader. With this, let me give you a little more insight about what is the difference between these books. Snapshot is a literary oriented book, whereas Hornbill has got a variety of content like prose, poetry, autobiography, fiction and non-fiction. But both these books have got few exercises for you to do. Note that the 2 textbooks that is prescribed for your class 11 are, one is your Snapshot and the other one is your Hornbill. Now, knowing which are the textbooks, let's go forward to understand what is the portions that you have to study for your class 11. So, going into the specifics of the portions that you need to cover up, it includes everything that is written over here. It is broadly categorized into reading comprehension, writing skills and grammar, literature, and assessment on listening and speaking skills. To repeat, remember, your syllabus includes 4 kinds. First one is your reading comprehension, followed by your writing skill and grammar, and then your literature along with your speaking and listening assessment. Now that you're familiar with what is the portions that you need to learn, let me take you to the most important part of today's presentation, the examination pattern. For you to easily recollect, I have divided it into 2 parts, Part A and Part B. Your Part A is nothing but your writing examination. When are you writing this? At the end of your academic year, you're going to write an annual examination for a question paper which is set for 80 marks. Now, who sets this question paper? Your school teacher will set the question paper. In which format? In the format prescribed by the Cbse board. You are writing a question paper that is set for 80 marks and you are going to write the exam in an examination hall. So that being part A of your examination pattern, let's look at what does this part B say. Your part B is an internal assessment. Just like you have practicals in your biology, physics and chemistry, in English also you have an internal assessment and you will be assessed for your speaking and your listening. So who assesses this? It is your school teacher. So to repeat, your part B is an internal assessment which will be done by your school and by your school teacher, and for how many marks? It is for 20 marks. I hope you have got me right. Your examination pattern is of two parts. Part A, you are answering a question paper that is set for 80 marks. And part B, you are having an internal assessment. You are assessed for your listening and speaking skill, and that is for 20 marks. So both put together, your 80 and your 20, you will be graded at the end of the academic year for 100 marks. And anything you get above 90 to 95 and 100 also, it is brilliant, and that is your challenge. Now, since you know the examination pattern, let me tell you how does your question paper look. Have a look at your question paper pattern. It is divided into three parts, section A, B and C. Your A is your reading comprehension and your B is your writing skill and grammar, and your section C is your literature. I repeat, reading comprehension is your A, writing and your grammar is your B, and literature is your C. Now, the marks which is allocated are also equally distributed. That means to say that you cannot neglect any of the sections. You have to give equal importance to all the sections. So this is how your question paper pattern will look like. Moving further, let's see how does each of this section look like in particular. Have a look at section A. It is reading comprehension. Although most of you are familiar with such a section, let's recollect to understand. Comprehension means reading a passage, understanding and answering the questions related to the passage. To repeat, you read the passage, you understand and you answer to the question related to the passage. Your questions could be multiple choice questions or objective type questions, short answer questions or comprehensive questions. So, reading a passage, understanding and answering the questions related to the passage is called as your reading comprehension. Now, let's understand what is note making. For example, I am the speaker now. You are listening to me. Alongside, you are making few notes, isn't it? So that is exactly what is note making. Listening to someone or reading a passage and making notes out of it is called as note making. Of course, in your examination, you will not have a speaker to whom you have to listen, but you will be given a passage where you will read and then make a note for the same passage. Now, how are you going to make a note? You have a prescribed format which surely I'll be teaching you in your further classes. For now, you understand that your section A, you have two kinds of question. One is reading comprehension and the second one is the note making. Section B is everything about writing skills and grammar. I am very sure that you will be very familiar with this section because being a CBSE student, you have learned your grammar and the writing skill right from smaller classes only. So let's see what do you have in section B, which is the writing skill along with grammar. Now, your first kind of question is going to be short composition. That will be for 4 marks. What is there in your short composition? You will have to learn to write a notice, an advertisement and a poster. I repeat, your short composition is notice writing, advertisement and poster. And for how many marks it is? It is for 4 marks. Moving further, what is your second part? Your second part is your letter writing. You will have formal letter writing and job application along with that. So your formal letter writing could be business letter, letters to editors, etc. And of course, your job application, your biodata or your curriculum vitae, there is a particular format. So this is your second part of your writing skill. That is letter writing and job application. And for how many marks is this? This is for 6 marks. Please understand, first one was your short composition and the second one is a little longer composition which includes letter writing. And your question C will be long composition. What does this long composition include? It includes your article, report writing and your speech. Let me repeat, article, speech and report writing. For how many marks it is? It is for 10 marks. Of course, this is not something very new to you, isn't it? You have been exposed to this topic in your earlier classes itself. So, A, B and C are your writing skills. Now, let's look at what is that you need to learn pertaining to grammar. Your grammar is for 10 marks. Your grammar is for 10 marks. So what are the topics under grammar here? You need to know determiners, tenses, modals, clauses and voices. Let me repeat, determiners, tenses, clauses, modals and voices. Now, are you going to learn all these in depth? No, you need to learn so that you can solve few exercises. So how are your exercises going to look? Your exercises include error correction and editing task and reordering of sentences. You will have few words which is jumbled. You need to reorder them for a meaningful sentences. And transformation of sentences. You need to transform from an active voice to a passive voice, from a present tense to a past tense. So these are few things which I will be teaching you in detail when I will be taking up the session in particular for grammar. This is how your section B will look like and it is for 30 marks. Pause the video, have a look at all the topics. It's important for you. Why I say this? Because in your 12th standard, all these are going to repeat. Now that you're familiar with your section B, let me take you to how does your section C look like. What is this section all about? You have everything to do with question and answers. Your questions are of 4 types. 1 mark, 2 marks and twice 6 marks questions. So how does your 1 mark question look like? It is objective type of questions and it is text comprehension and appreciation. And your 2 mark questions, it could be extract questions from a prose or a poetry. And you will have 2 long answer questions where the word limit is 120 to 150 words. It's for 6 marks and it is each question is from snapshot and from your Hornbill textbook. What is important in this section? It is important that you have a practice of reading the textbook thoroughly, understanding and answering. How are you going to answer these questions? You need to learn to criticize, opine, think beyond the textbook, analyze, comprehend and learn to paraphrase your answer. How do you introduce an answer? How do you conclude an answer? All these things I will be teaching you when I am dealing with your textbook lessons separately. For now, please understand that your literature is for 30 marks and you will have 4 kind of questions. So dear children, I hope you have got me right when I have told you how does your question paper pattern look like. Your question paper pattern has got 3 types. One is section A, B and C. And what is the total marks? It is 80. Next, let me introduce you to your internal assessment. Please remember and recollect, I had told you all you will have an internal assessment on speaking and listening skill which is for 20 marks. So this is how it will look like. It is into 2 parts. Part A is your speaking and part B is your listening. Now, who's going to do this assessment for you? Your school teacher will be doing this assessment and it is school based. The slide might look a little overpopulated, but it is definitely self-explanatory. And for students like you, if you just pause the video and go through, you will understand what are the different kind of stages and what are the different kind of tasks in which you are assessed to get your 20 marks. So this is your speaking and listening assessment. Of course, right now it might look a little confusing for you, but when I deal with this in particular separately, I will surely teach you about how you will be assessed on speaking and listening skill. This being said, let's see how does your cumulative assessment look like. Dear children, when I talk about tests and exams, it's a methodology which you implement to learn. So what are the kinds of assessments you are going to take during your academic year? You will have 2 periodic tests for 10 marks and you will write a half-yearly examination. Now, these are a mode of preparing you to write your annual examination which will come at the end of the year and it is for 80 marks. Along with that, you will have the internal assessment on speaking and listening which is for 20 marks. Now both put together, you will be evaluated or you will be graded for 100 marks. To repeat, you may have to take 2 periodic tests and an half-yearly exam before you write your annual examination. So this is your cumulative assessment. Before I let you go, I have few suggestions. Definitely, I won't be reading the whole thing to you. Pause the video later or rewatch it. Go through it. What are my suggestions? All that I need to tell you is just spend 15 minutes in a day for English. This way, you will develop a methodology of learning wherein you will get accustomed to your daily learning. Believe me, children, having been taught this subject for so long, it's only you and your daily effort that accumulates for you to perform well. By saying this, I wouldn't want to be a teacher to you. Rather, I will love to be your mentor. So, let's walk this path together. Let's build a relation of warmth. Since our interaction is shifted to the online mode, please feel free to contact me in the link in the description below. Of course, all the materials, the notes and the assignments also will be attached in the description box. That's it for today. To conclude, I hope you got me right. Your syllabus, prescribed textbook, examination pattern, question paper pattern, duration of the course, your cumulative assessment, and your internal assessment as well. Remember, aim not just to pass but to score high. That will separate you from the rest. See you soon in my next session, The Portrait of the Lady. Until then, all smiles to you. Bye-bye.